Hello, Brother Sewing and Crafting family. Angela Wolf here, and Happy New Year. If you missed our show last week, it would still be the new year. We have a really fun show for you today. May is here with some awesome crafting items for you, which you all know. If you haven't seen all of her past episodes, you can go on YouTube and watch them all. But we're live streaming on Brother Crafting, YouTube and Facebook pages. I can see all of your comments, and I see all the Brother fans rolling in even early. So it's wonderful to see you all, and let's bring May to the party and see what she's working on today. Hi, May.
Hello, it's so good to be back. I look forward to this every month.
We do too, by the way. We do too. In fact, I was reading some comments from the last show you were on, and there were so many people who followed what you did, used hashtag Brother Crafts, and I saw it all over socials. So that's fantastic.
Yes, I love seeing and Brother loves seeing what everybody makes as well. So be sure to share if you're making stuff, because there's a big, beautiful crafting community out here, and we all like seeing what you make.
We sure do. So what are we doing today, by the way?
So today, I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I did not get my winter break list even halfway. Like all my dream projects, all the works in progress I was going to complete, all the things I was going to do, hopefully. I don't even think we hit a quarter. You know what? That's okay. That's okay. You know, that's how things can go. And I always say that us crafters, we always have a list way longer than we could ever do in the first place. So don't sweat it if you're not caught up. But something that I find, especially, I find it in January and September the most, but something that can help me get organized and get things back on track or where I want them to be is to have a paper planner. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take my 2023 planner here, and we're going to use the ScanNCut to do a couple of different things and make some embellishments and some things to go in our planner. So it's a little pretty, it's a little fun. So we're getting organized, but we're also having fun doing it.
I think that's awesome, May. In fact, I'm reading the comments. They're all loving your horse shirt, by the way. Squirrel.
Oh.
I'm with you. And by the way, all of you watching, hit the like button if you have a list that's very long and unfinished, because May and I will feel so much better.
Oh, yeah.
So true.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I think it's important that it happens to all of us, right? It happens to all of us where we get behind, or things are going on, or we don't have time for something that we thought we had time for, or just the overwhelm of, I don't know what to pick, or I don't know what thing to do first. So I find just getting myself organized and doing so in a way that's visually pleasing to me keeps me more on track, or keeps me going towards those goals.
That sounds awesome.
So let me grab, I've dropped my stylus. Let me grab it.
Hey, May, did you make your top by any chance?
What's that? No, I did not. I don't tend to make my own clothing yet. We haven't gotten me, we haven't added that to my list quite yet. I do repairs or like adding something, but I haven't gotten to making full items. Yes. And yes, the list always is growing. It's okay. It's all right. It happens. I know I'm just about wrapping up a really huge, like a 2-foot high cross stitch, which obviously that's tens of thousands of stitches and 2 years of work. I'm almost done with it, and I've already downloaded my next one. I'm like, what is wrong with me? I can't just be, can't just have a break. No, I already know the next one.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay, so let's look at a couple of different things. So the ScanNCut, as you know, scans, it cuts, it does lots of different things. There's 3 specific ways that I find I most often use it with regards to a planner. And I'm going to be working today in just like a regular paper planner. But you could also do, and I have done like a single sheet, or do this on a calendar. I've also done like a custom sheet for like a vacation countdown or something like that. So you can get pretty creative with the different styles and types of planners and things you can do. We can go over to the ScanNCut, and I'll show you the first thing. Let's see here. All right. So the first thing to do as an idea is you can go into pattern, and you can pick, whatever size you like. And this is where I really like the ScanNCut better than just getting out my scissors or my paper trimmer. So we can take our planner, we can measure that this, 1.25 inches is good, or that the height is 7.5, the grid paper. You can measure so you know exactly what you're looking for. And then you can use this button right here. I already said 1.25 inches was max, so I'll go a little smaller than 1.25 inches. Oops, that's too much smaller. Sometimes that gets away from me. Okay, so let's say 1.1. And then the height, that's a very tall height. I don't want that tall. We'll pull it down, let's say 1.5. Excuse me. Okay, so we can say that. And then I'll add another one just to get a different shape going. And we could do just a regular rectangle. So we can do whatever shapes we want. And if you're wondering, well, why would I ever want anything? Well, here's a couple reasons. Number one, if you wrote something and it's incorrect, who has ever written down a plan and had that plan not work out? I know I have. So
I'm in there.
yeah, I think most of us have probably been there. So I'm just going to load a mat here and show you. And you could do this on any sort of, well, you could do it on paper, but I would recommend any sort of sticker paper. So that includes, in my book, that includes vinyl. If you have sticker vinyl or craft vinyl, as some people more often refer to it. Oh.
How are you?
It's Matt, my Matt. Let's see what we did here. If that happens, you just unload, and then typically you must have loaded a little crooked. So if that ever happens, you just unload it and then reload it if it ever says it doesn't see your mat or it can't recognize. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut. So any kind of sticker paper or vinyl or anything like that, you're going to go in here and you're going to select half cut. So that will cut just the sticker material. Or if you had label paper. So I'm a really big fan of look around. Instead of going and buying more stuff, look around and do you have something? Do you have label paper? Do you have sticker paper? Do you have vinyl that you could use as sticker paper? And when we get into our planners, that we'll take a look at this here. When we get into our planners, what I find a lot of the time, and I'm just going to trim these guys out here so since I can see right where they are real easy. A lot of times I will write stuff down or I'll have an idea that it'll be wrong, and I don't love to, scratch it out. So this gives us a little different option here. Let's see, where's my line? There it is. So instead, what this will do, and again,
could you bring that up just a little bit? We can't see it.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Thanks.
I've mismarked my marks. So you can see I've cut, so you could do any size or shape. And I point this out first because I think anybody who's ever written down, I'm going to do this or let's do that kind of things has written something down. You write something down like we're going to do, go to the craft store. We're going to go shopping today on this day, but then it didn't happen, or then there's something else going on or whatever it is. Well, if you have cut little stickers from your ScanNCut, you can just cover it right up. And depending on the sticker paper, it might not be perfect, but depending on the sticker paper, some of them are thicker. Some of them have like a backing that ensures that the underneath can't be shown through. But now I've got a blank slate. Now I can start over again. So I find that really, really helpful. The other thing you can do with these is you can do something like, let's see, I think this guy should fit. Well, we're going to find out if this guy fits. The other thing you could do with these is, and that's not I didn't do a great job there. That's okay. You can stamp. So you could cut all your different little size stickers that you want, and then you could stamp things on them. You could write things on them, whatever it might be. and then you can add them in to help you plan or help you clean up your mess. If you've made a mess, we can get it cleaned right up, or whatever else you might need to do. So that's number 1 on the list.
That was a great idea. Patty says, I never thought of that. Me
And
either.
if you have those little stickers all cut and measured and just have them wherever you keep your planner and your pen or whatever supplies you have, then they're just there. You don't have to keep turning on the Scan and Cut. You just pull a sticker off the sheet and use it to cover up whatever it might be, because I feel like we all know we're all going to put things down and then change our minds, or plans change, or, things happen. So the second thing is, though, okay, that's covering up the mess, but what if we want to make something pretty? So I've got some paper here. You could use paper. You could do all kinds of really cool stuff. You could get pretty intricate with this as well if you want to, but I'll show you one of the things I like to do. And again, remember, we can measure, so we can just take a ruler and we can know that the page area, it helps if I have the ruler right side up. So like 5.5, 6 inches at most. And then the little area I've got down at the bottom, it was about 1.5 inches. So knowing what size you're looking at will help you with scale when you go and load your mat here. We'll go load this up, bring you back. Whoop, too far. There we go. Okay, so we'll load the mat back up. And now what we'll do is make decorative. I'm going to make a decorative strip. You could do shapes. I'm going to do a strip, and we have them right here. I always forget about these. We have all kinds of fun little decorative strips. Now I'm going to make this. So first I'm going to look at, okay, how wide versus how high. I want it at 1.3. So let me just put this down. And I'm going to put it just under, a little more. Okay, so I have got this here. Now what I'm going to do is press this button to scan, because remember, yeah, we're talking about kind of a practical thing here, right? With, we're trying to make our plans, or we're trying to get more projects made, or organize our craft time or whatever, but we can still use all our scan and cut tricks. So we can still use scanning, and we can use all the different techniques and ways that we utilize this machine. We can still utilize here. So what I can do now is decide what part of this lovely paper am I wanting on here. And then if I decide, you know what, I want to do this across the whole page, so I want 2 of them, we just go to edit, and you just add, I need to add 1. So there's 2 total. And then it's up to me if I want to have them line up, or if I want to have different parts. Like I think I'm going to pull up here. And once we've decided what pieces you would like, and what I like about this is if we're making our own decoration, if you want decoration, and I put this in more, for example, if we're on the Disney machine. So if we're going to Disney and I want to make a Disney countdown calendar, I used to do that when the kids were little. If I want to go to Disney and make a Disney countdown calendar, I can go find whatever paper or themed things I have. Or if it was general travel, I could go find some airplane paper or something. And then I can make my own custom countdown or my own custom trip planner or whatever I might be up to. So it doesn't just have to be everyday or craft projects or anything like that. Okay, and it goes quick, so it's just going to go for a minute here.
I'm watching the comments, May, and that idea of a Disney countdown calendar, what a great idea. Or any vacation trip,
Yeah, it's already done. So I'll pop these out. These out. Looks like, okay, so there's 1. And I always just go nice and slow if there's a little spot that's maybe stuck. And I can tell you that if that happens, so like this last little one, like a little piece was kind of sticking and it wasn't quite through, I know and I already know this particular blade is getting a little tired. It's a little tired of me, and this blade would like it if I would please give another blade some work to do and let it rest a little bit. So we'll pull out the book, and I will put some, so you could do this with something that was already adhesive backed, or you could just use any kind of double-sided tape or anything like that. And I'm just gonna put this down here like so. You can see I left it so it's a little, pull this up a little. So I left it so there's a little on each side, just because when I'm opening and closing, and if this gets a little thicker here, it can just be a little tricky to keep everything working well. And then we'll put this one, just kind of look at where I was. And sometimes I'll like to add a little quote or add, I don't know, some kind of other piece. There's that guy. And I got everything pieced together the way I wanted to because I had that scan function. So I was able to do that. Now, if I wanted to cut out, like, say, some flower stickers, or maybe I have some flower stamps that I just want to stamp directly, I can always do all of that. But it helps me add some decoration, and I could possibly be using up scraps. I could be using just supplies I have on hand instead of going out and buying more specific things to work in a planner. But there's all kinds of good stuff that we could do for that. Now, the third thing we're going to do here is this has got a plain cover, but it's also got the, like, what it is. Like, this is an undated weekly planner. Like, well, okay, I don't think I need that to be said on the cover of my planner. So I'm thinking some sparkle. So we can pick, and this is fabric. So I'm thinking because it's fabric cover, what we'll do is heat transfer on the cover. Now, if you had a paper cover, if you had something else, you possibly could still do the heat transfer, but you might also want to do just like sticker vinyl might be good for you, just depending. So let's check. I've got my iron on. That's always good. Just checking that we've got everybody's lined up here for, I know we're flying right through, but I figured it's January. Everybody's catching up and busy. So we'll get some good quick ideas. So this is heat transfer, which means that the glittery side, the side that we're going to see, is the side we put down. And it's also important to remember with the heat transfer stuff, with heat transfer, everything's going to be backwards because we have the front facing down. So we're going to pull our machine, and you could use whatever kind of vinyl you like. I pulled out a couple. I didn't know what the mood was going to be. We'll do a nice little intricate one here. So I think that'll look really pretty. And again, we can measure what is our size. You know, it's about 6 inches, about 8 inches at max. So I don't think we want that full size, but we could. It's just always good to know what kind of size and shape you're looking at so that when you're going to pick your patterns, you're picking something that would be appropriate. Okay. So I don't think I want a layer. I don't think I want a bunch of words on it, but I do really like this pattern. It's really, really pretty. And I could do about 6 inches or 5.5, 6 inches. Oh, let's see. I said 6 inches wide, didn't I? I have to keep track of myself, make sure I remember. Okay, so if it's 6 inches wide, then I think 5.75 would be good. Okay. Okay. And I have to make sure. Oh, I don't have. Okay, so my piece of vinyl, I think, is a little small. So here's what we're going to do. You've got two choices. I'm loading the mat right now. You could either just go get a full sheet of vinyl, or if you're really wanting to make it work and you're flexible, what I would do is what I'm doing now, just scan the material in, and this will let me know how far off I am. and if I'm willing to resize or do something a little differently here. Okay, so yeah, you know what? It's just not that far off. So I'm going to do two things. It is taller than it is wide, so I am going to rotate it. And then I'm just going to size it down until it fits within our vinyl piece here. And that's something you can do if you're kind of flexible on exactly how big you're going to make something. This is what I would do. I just want to make sure it's within by a bit, just so that I don't end up, let's see. Yeah, that should be good. And if you're trying to get it in there, but it's moving a lot, here's your other trick. Right here, push that button, and then you can move it like just the teensiest bit at a time instead of whatever you're moving it with the stylus. So everybody looks good. We're going to cut, and we're going to put half cut on. Okay.
Hey, May.
Yes.
You know, that extra little moving tool where you can put, where you can just click one little thing at a time, that thing is a lifesaver. I can't tell you how many times I've moved stuff around, but then it just needs like just a smidge.
A smidge, yes. Yeah, when it's just that little, and there's a smaller amount you could move, but you're not able to do it with this, that's where it kicks in, is that's right. The smallest amount you can nudge things around. And it makes such a big difference.
It does. It's a great, everybody's saying thank you for this tutorial. I so agree.
And you know what? This is also, I feel like if I can I'm not big on resolutions or anything like that, but if I can kick off like a new week or a new idea or a new goal or anything with some organization, but also using up some of the stuff I've already got, it makes me feel better. It makes me feel better because I'm using, okay, we're using that scrap, we're getting that scrap used, or we're getting this material used, or in this case, I've had this undated planner for a year and just not started it. And I keep meaning to, but then I keep just putting, this is supposed to be my work planner, and I keep just putting work stuff in my personal planner. I'm like, okay, you gotta set your own stuff up. That's been 6 months now. That's enough.
Separate
Time to get back on track.
Arnell wants to know, should you always do a test cut?
So Arnell, it's really up to you. I never test cut. I just always forget that I was going to test cut. The only exception I really make is if I have a material I've never cut and it's just brand new and I'm not sure if it's going to work or I'm concerned about it, then I might do a test cut. I just don't worry about it because the only thing I'll ever run into is once in a while, and I can't tell how we're doing here. Once in a while though, when I pull a design off, if I can't quite tell if we did a good job like on the half cut, I'm just going to not remove it. I'm just going to check in from the mat, and it does not seem that it cut all the way through for whatever reason. It might be my whole I need a new blade thing. And we can do that. I have blades behind me, so I'll show you how to change a blade. And that's something I'll do like with vinyl and stuff. If before I ever remove it from the mat, I just kind of check around. And if it's not lifting really easy, if you just leave it alone, you can recut it perfectly. As long as you don't ever remove it from the mat. Once you've removed it from the mat, you're never going to perfectly get it right there. So the blades, there we go. The blades come single, and you really don't need new blades very often. I don't even know. I can't tell you the last time I changed a blade, but it's been a long time. So the blade holder, you just open it on up, and the little blade pops out. And this I will actually save because I don't currently have one. And then you're going to pop the little plastic top piece off. I keep my blades when they're a little dull for things like watercolor paper and cardboard and things that are very hard on the machine. Okay, and then it just goes, I'll move us here just for a second. It just goes right back in where you pulled it from. Easy as can be. Okay, so we're gonna let that cut. So to cut again, you just select cut again. And just leave everything alone. Don't move anything and you will be all set. And that's a big reason. I know it doesn't happen very often, but once before here on the show, we had a similar thing where it was time for a new blade. Oh. And that's how you know that's what you do. And if you guys remember with the paper, when I cut the paper, there was a little rough spot. And I mentioned that that's how I know its blade's time is up. I just thought we could cheat and get one more cut.
Exactly.
Apparently not.
Exactly. But going back to that test cut, I know there are a lot of versions that, before they had the auto blade, yes. And I even still have one of those versions. I would highly, highly, highly recommend doing a test cut. And if you're new to the ScanNCut, brother highly recommends it. So just keep that in mind too.
Yes. And it definitely, when I was cutting on the original ScanNCut or the ScanNCut 2, I always did a test cut. That's a really good point. Yeah. The auto blade has just gotten me lazy.
It does. It has a habit of doing that, especially because it cuts so well. But, every once in a while, May, I don't know, every once in a while, I'll pick up something that I've even used before, and it just isn't cutting exactly the same. And I don't know, sometimes it could just be the thickness of maybe it was just a little thicker fabric. Now, mine's mostly fabric that I'm having dealings with, but you just never know. So, but the bottom line is you can change that tension just a smidge, just like that smidge we were talking about moving, and then you're good to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And do that. And then even when you are test cutting, still pause and check it before you pull it off the mat. That's one of the things that I've learned the hard way is just pause and check it, because while it's on the mat, we can still recut if need be or do something different. But once you've pulled it, you've pulled it. And it's a whole different story. Let's see. I think we're looking better here.
Give a few thank yous from people never knew how to change their blades. So there you go.
Oh, good. Okay, so I'll move this up so that you can see me test here. And you're going to see it's a whole different. You see how fast, how that just pops right off?
Oh, yeah.
That's how we know we are good to go this time. So I will close this up over there, and we will move our mat out of the way. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to trim, and I know we have the vinyl box that we can do, but I tend to just be the person that just goes and trims. And we've got our scissors, we've got our stuff. Okay. So now,
Patty says you're amazing, May.
Oh, thank you. Well, what I have learned, because I know she said she does a lot of tests, to a degree I will, and remember too that when we do these live shows, I've tested stuff and I've checked stuff and I've spent time here behind the scenes making sure that things theoretically, I say theoretically because things can always happen, but I sit and make sure that theoretically everything we're about to do is going to work. So remember that too, that I've already tested things when we go live here. When I'm sitting here and crafting and preparing for these live shows, things are not as fast. I just try not to bore you with too much experimenting. So all we've got to do now, and I say all we've got to do, this one's not too intricate, is remove all of the pieces of vinyl that we don't want to transfer. So luckily we've been having nonstop storms. Anybody else in California right now knows it's been weeks and there's no end in sight of all the stormy days. So that's the one thing I'll say. Normally I don't remember. What's that?
Did you lose your power? That's what we saw all over the place.
It's happened a couple times, but it's on now. I know it's really windy outside and really raining, and I thought, oh boy. Oh boy.
Here goes the live.
We're going to go live and cross our fingers, and I'm going to try to work quick. No, so it's just been, but because I have to have studio lighting, I'm like, oh, wow, that's right. Studio lighting is better for vinyl. I feel like artificial lighting, you get a better glare, and it shows you where the pieces are, where the lines are easier than when I don't have it on. When it's natural light, I'm doing a lot more like turning and trying to get to the spot where I can see the thing. Yeah. So almost there though. Super easy. Just got 2 more petals to do. And you can see what a difference. There's no reason, if your vinyl is not coming off this easy when it's on the mat, just recut it. That's my advice to you. Just do recut, especially if you're on a ScanNCutDX that has auto blade. Let the auto blade have another shot at it, or check your blade if it needs replacing, that kind of stuff, because it should be super easy. And when it's super easy, it's just so much more a pleasant craft experience. So much better to just be able to pop things off than to, you know, fight with them or try to go around corners and hope that you don't tear things. And also always remember with vinyl, you're not in a hurry ever, and you don't rip. You just gently lift, gently lift, gently lift so that you can see what you have, what's done. And you can see here, we've got our, look how pretty that's going to be. Isn't that pretty?
That looks awesome.
I just love that the ScanNCut has so many designs in there that are just ready to go. They're just ready to go, and my machine is just going to be in the way, so we're going to move it all the way out of the way here. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we're going to cover that up. So it's up to you when you do a design if you care. Like, I don't particularly care if anything is showing through. That's not really a concern of mine. I just wanted something prettier on my cover versus just plain. So we've got that. And I'm going to grab some fabric. Oh, I just got a bunch of solid color fabrics. I forgot that I ordered them while I was being lazy on break, and then they showed up and I got so excited. But I love to have a bunch of solid color fabrics around. So we're just going to lay that over the top, and then iron is on. And your iron settings, it's going to depend on your iron. This is a very old iron. That's like 6 layers of fabric, so that's probably too much. Remember, it's going to depend on your iron. This is an old iron, and if you don't have it all the way cranked up, there's just not a point. And it's steaming a tiny bit, but I have steam turned off, so I want to watch that too. And we're just going to come in here and press. Remember that we're trying to get 2 things. We're getting it hot enough to press, but then also we want it to be nice and pressed in. So it's starting to go. I like, especially when it's a new or not a usual material. So I don't usually do this to books, although scrapbook albums, as well as just different notebooks and books and things, can be really wonderful for heat transfer vinyl. I just try not to press for too long because I don't want to burn anything, right? I don't want to cause any problems. So I keep checking, and it's lifting, but there's also still some spots that are not all the way pressed. And that's obviously important because we're going to want it to stay. We don't want it to come undone. So this part is less than glamorous. When you watch our videos, we tend to speed this part over. It's not the most exciting. And I can still see right here is not quite done. I mean, we could lift it off technically, but I'm going to do one more press because I know me. We're going to stop filming this show, and then I'm going to forget, and then I'm going to tear it because it's lifted up and I didn't do it properly the first time. So we don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm just press. And I am pressing with my hand. I am pressing down on the iron. because we really do want that to get nice and stuck. And then as I lift, I watch really carefully when you lift right along the line. If anybody is not fully down, you will see it kind of lift up. Even if you like feel it and you go, oh no, it feels okay. If it lifts up at all, that's no good. Look at that. How cute is that?
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And I could add my name if I want to, I suppose. If I wanted to add my name or the year or something else, I certainly could. And again, this is a planner, but we could be doing a notebook, a scrapbook album cover, whatever it is that you're working on, whatever that work in progress is, we can make it a little more fun, a little more pretty, right?
I love the sparkle of it. Yeah, Arnell, I figured you'd probably have purple, but I'll take the pink one. I love that. It is so cute. And yeah, Judy, you made it before the end. So we're glad you did because it was a great tutorial. You might want to go back and watch 3 ways to use the Scan and Cut. Super fun. Everybody's saying so cute, May. There is a question for you, though.
Okay.
Where did it go? Oh, yeah. Anne had a question. Does it matter what type of Teflon sheet you're using or fabric? Does it matter when you're doing that necessarily?
You mean like for pressing? I'm assuming she's meaning for pressing.
I'm going to guess she means for pressing.
I just always use cotton fabric because I have solid cotton. I have a whole thing of solid cotton fabric there. So I just always pull one of those out. And I usually have it doubled. So it's usually 2 layers of like cotton quilting fabric pressed down. So far, I've never had a problem with that. You can technically, I'm wondering if she means like with the covering that comes with just pressing it plain with the covering. Technically you can. I have done it myself when I'm in a hurry and don't want to go get something. The risk you run is you have a higher risk of burning or a higher risk of like getting just a little too much direct heat and having something. If you've ever seen vinyl melt on your project, as I have, you kind of get to the point where you go, okay, not really worth it. Not really worth it. I'm going to get a sheet or something, unless you have like a professional press that the material of the press is not meant to add fabric. It's just meant to be pressed down. If you're not using a press, though, if you're just using an iron, I think it's probably better. Angela, you usually cover with fabric?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I have a professional press and I still use a piece of fabric even on that. It's just something I always have a piece of muslin laying around, muslin fabric, and I just throw that on, just kind of like what you have there, just a basic piece of cotton, and it works great. But either one.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I follow some people that use a press and don't have anything, but they also have like a very high tech, like it's the setting is set to the material and like that's way beyond. Yeah, I've just got an iron that has to be cranked all the way up high to work at all. So when I'm not being as exact,
better be safe than sorry, right?
Yes, definitely.
Patty had that oops moment. We're with you, Patty. Oh, great project. Yeah. Great project.
You know, it's so much fun, and I feel like if we make things customized or pretty, it's just easier to want to get in there and get those projects going and get motivated. I know it's hard, but believe me, I know it's hard. People say, well, how do you stay, motivated? Well, I don't always. I'm not always motivated. There's definitely times when I have to force myself to like get something started or, take the scary plunge and, commit. I know we've all had those projects where we have things laid out, but we haven't stitched or glued because we're worried that it's not going to be great if we do. Sometimes you have to just take the leap, but then sometimes you can pause and do a sidetrack and make something pretty and decorate something. And sometimes that can kind of get things rolling too.
Absolutely. So by the way, I put up here, let me just bring up May's website. There's Brothers website. If you go to Brothers Sews, scroll all the way to the bottom, unless it's changed in the last few days since I've looked. There's 2 blogs for you, the Stitching Social and the Crafting blog. There are a ton of free, great content on there. By the way, don't forget to download your Artspira app. I don't know, May, if you've had a chance to do that yet, but that app is so much fun. There's so many possibilities there.
Well, and that's really fun too, because you just look at the projects, or even there's even step by step in there, or just the cut files. I've been really a big fan of there's a bunch of wildflowers cut
Oh, I
files that
haven't
are
seen.
really just like silhouettes that are really pretty. And you just pick, okay, I want this, then say, send it to my machine, and then the machine's got it and you're onward. It's very
It's
fast.
amazing. So if any of you have questions about that, leave it because the Brothers Social team will help you. But it's Art Spira. It's available on your phone or tablet. Download it. There's a lot of new things coming. It's so exciting. But hey, May, these were so much fun. I've put your website down below too because you're always doing new and fun things on your YouTube channel as well.
I am actually YouTube. I think it's in 2 days. I've got first video of 2023. Yay! I took a bit of a break, but I'm back at it and have more stuff coming and classes coming, all kinds of fun stuff.
That's awesome. Amazing. Well, May, this has been fantastic. It's so great to see you again. I can hardly wait till next month. And you always I just have to give you kudos. You always give us such great projects that are quick and easy to do. Like right now, I could go finish that because I do have my planner for the year and I have a calendar laid out, and this would make it so much more fun and pretty.
Yes, and then you have something, and then it's a little pretty, it's a little customized, and you're more, I don't know, once I've done that, then I'm more interested in grabbing it and doing something.
Absolutely. So there was your project. I love that flower built in. If you missed the whole episode, you can go back and you can watch from the beginning. And if you're on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for Brother. You'll never miss a video. There's a lot of binge watching there too. And if you're on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page on Brother Sews, and come and follow May and I too, because we're always showing you great Brother stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Everybody's saying thank you, thank you. And I know some of you got a new Scan and Cut over the holidays, so get that thing out of the box. That's all I got to say. It can do so much. You're welcome. You're welcome, everyone. So May, have a wonderful month until we see you again. And Brother Sewing and Crafting family, I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, everyone.